I opened the front door and immediately noticed the silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence. No, the wrong kind. The kind of silence that prickles your skin before your brain catches up. The kind that makes your instincts whisper, something's off. I wasn't supposed to be home this early. My shift at the auto shop ended early because my boss, Frank, decided to shut the place down for fumigation. I didn't call my wife, Samantha, because I wanted to surprise her. Maybe bring some lunch, kiss her neck, and remind myself why we were still married after 6 years of fights, makeups, and everything in between. I kicked off my boots quietly, walked through the hallway, and past the living room. Her purse was on the floor. Her blouse draped over the arm of the couch. My heart started tapping, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Maybe she was changing. Maybe she was napping. Then I heard it. A faint, rhythmic sound. Muffled giggles. Our bedroom door was shut, and that door never closed unless we had privacy. I didn't rush. I didn't scream. I pulled my phone out, hit the video record, and slowly pushed the door open. What I saw hit me like a hammer to the chest. My wife, Samantha, naked, in our bed, and on top of her was my brother, Kyle. Kyle, the golden boy. Kyle, the best man at our wedding. Kyle, who held my newborn daughter while I filmed it all with shaking hands. Kyle, who gave me advice about loyalty. That Kyle. He didn't look shocked. He smirked. A slow, cocky smirk that made me want to rip the bed apart with my bare hands. Samantha didn't even flinch. She looked annoyed, like I had interrupted her massage appointment or something. Kyle said, "What's up, bro?" Like it was a joke. Like this was a joke. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I didn't throw punches. Instead, I raised my phone. "I just sent your wife a video of you two." The smirk vanished. Instantly, Kyle's face went pale, then red, then wild. He scrambled off the bed, shouting, "You what? You're F*** ing lying." Nope. I locked eyes with him. Sent. 2 minutes ago. Samantha finally spoke. "Are you serious, Ryan? You're filming us? That's so psycho." She looked disgusted at me. Not at the fact that she was rolling around with my own brother, but because I filmed it. "I told you we were drifting," she hissed, grabbing a robe. "You don't touch me. You don't even see me anymore. Maybe if you acted like a man, I wouldn't need your brother." Kyle was pacing, grabbing his jeans, mumbling something about his wife, Jenna, and how this was all going to ruin him. "You think this is about you?" I snapped, stepping forward. "You think I give a damn about what happens to you, Kyle? You just nuked our family. You think mom's going to be proud?" He froze. Samantha, ever the manipulative snake, crossed her arms and said, "You're being dramatic. We've been unhappy for a while. You just never had the balls to admit it." "Unhappy?" I laughed bitterly. "So your solution was to screw my brother in our bed? While our daughter's at school?" I saw the twitch in Kyle's jaw. "Good. Let it burn. Let it sink in. Jenna's gonna see it," I said. "I sent it. Read receipts." "Already opened." He lunged. I was ready. One step back, phone still recording, and he stopped himself, breathing hard like a rabid animal. Samantha sat on the edge of the bed, unapologetic, like she was bored. That's when I realized she didn't care. This wasn't a mistake. This was a message. She wanted me to see this, maybe even hoped it'd break me enough to walk away quietly. But I wasn't breaking. I turned to Kyle. "Tell your wife to pack. You'll need a place to crash." He didn't respond, just stared at the floor. Samantha rolled her eyes. "I'll call a lawyer. This marriage was dead a long time ago." "No," I said. "You just killed it." And I walked out of the room. But not out of the house. Not yet. Not before I made sure every piece of the truth came crashing down around them. I had more than just one video. I had a trail of messages, receipts, and screenshots, weeks worth. And when I was done, there wouldn't be a single person in either of our families who didn't know what she'd done. And the best part? I hadn't even told her what I sent to her boss yet. I sat in the kitchen, hand shaking, phone buzzing nonstop. Messages from Jenna kept flooding in. "Is this real? Please tell me it's not Kyle. I don't understand." She sent a voice message. I didn't even need to press play. I could already hear the sound of a marriage shattering. I let it play anyway. Her sobs filled the room like a ghost wailing through my walls. I closed my eyes and let them pierce through the numbness. Kyle and Samantha were still upstairs, whispering like cowards, probably trying to decide how to spin it all, how to salvage whatever was left of their reputations. As if there was anything worth salvaging. Samantha finally came downstairs, wrapped in a silk robe like nothing happened. She had her phone in one hand and a smirk on her face that I wanted to rip off. She poured herself coffee. "Are you proud of yourself?" she asked, leaning against the counter like some spoiled villain from a soap opera. "I mean, congrats. You just ruined 2 marriages. But sure, go ahead, play the victim." I didn't even look at her. "You cheated on your husband with his brother. In his bed. While his kid's backpack is still on the damn couch. You really want to talk about victims?" "Oh, please," she snapped. "You were never really here. You were always working, always distracted. You didn't even notice when I got my hair done last month." "That's your justification?" I asked, finally turning to her. "A haircut." She sipped her coffee. Calm. Calculated. Cold. "I needed to feel alive again," she said. "Kyle made me feel wanted. You? You just existed." My fist clenched so hard my nails dug into my palm. "So you climb into bed with my own brother?" "He came to me," she said, as if that made a damn difference. "It started after Thanksgiving. That night you passed out drunk in the living room. I remembered that night. I worked a double shift, came home exhausted, and passed out watching a movie with my daughter. I thought it was a cozy family moment. Apparently, that's when they started sneaking around. I never meant for it to go this far," she said, eyes rolling as if she were annoyed at herself for being too desirable. "But you caught us, so fine. Now it's all in the open. Let's talk like adults." "Adults?" I laughed, short and bitter. "You're not an adult. You're a manipulative, lying piece of work. You planned this. Don't act like you're caught off guard." She walked past me, brushing my arm like we were just having a small argument. "I'm gonna take a shower. When I'm done, we'll talk about custody. In the house." That did it. "Don't bother," I said. "Your boss already has the emails. And the photos." She froze in place. "Yeah." I saw the flicker of fear then. Real fear. Her face finally cracked, the smug mask slipping just enough. "You're bluffing," she said, voice lower now. Shaken. "Nope. Remember that work trip last month when you said you were too tired to FaceTime? I had someone follow you. And your boss's wife? She's a friend of mine now. You piece of—" "Watch your mouth," I cut in. "You already burned the world around you. I'm just lighting the match on what's left." I walked out before she could respond. Kot was sitting in his truck outside, hands in his hair, looking like his whole universe had been carpet-bombed. Good. Let him sit in that wreckage. Let him soak in what betrayal really feels like when the roles are flipped. He looked up as I passed. Tried to open his door, say something, maybe even apologize. I didn't stop. I didn't care. I drove to Jenna's house. She was standing at the doorway, arms wrapped around herself, mascara down her cheeks. She didn't say a word. Just opened the door. We sat in silence for a long time. 2 broken people staring at the same explosion from different angles. I knew something was wrong, she finally whispered. "He's been distant. Weird. But your wife? I never imagined she was capable of something like this." "She's worse than you think," I said. "And he's no victim either." She nodded, then laughed through her tears. "You know what the worst part is?" I looked at her. "I think they'll just move on. Like nothing happened. Like we were the problem. They'll eat each other alive," I said. "That's what snakes do when there's no one left to betray." She smiled faintly, wiped her face. "So, what now?" I didn't have an answer. But I knew one thing, I wasn't letting them win. Not like this. Not without a fight. I stayed at Jenna's that night. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't bear to step foot into that house again. The walls felt diseased with betrayal. I kept picturing Samantha's legs tangled with my brother's, their whispers, that smug smirk on his face. Over and over. Like a loop I couldn't break. Jenna offered me the guest room. She made tea, even though her hands were trembling. I noticed how she clutched the cup like it was the only thing holding her together. We didn't talk much, just exchanged glances full of disbelief and exhaustion. 2 people who thought they knew their partners. 2 people who had no idea what monsters they were living with. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Samantha. "You're being cruel now." I didn't deserve this. I stared at the screen. Laughed. "Cruel? Cruel is cheating on your husband with his brother. In his own house. In his own bed. While his kids' crayon drawings hang on the fridge 5 feet away. Cruel is not even bothering to pretend you're sorry." Then came another message. "We need to talk. About Emma. Emma. My daughter. The only person in this entire mess who didn't ask for any of it. The only reason I didn't completely lose my mind and burn everything down. I wanted to tell her she'd never see Emma again. That she lost her rights the moment she threw away her soul for a cheap thrill. But I couldn't. Because no matter how much I hated Samantha, Emma still needed her mom. And I wasn't about to punish my daughter for the sins of that heartless woman. The next morning, I went back to the house. I needed clothes, papers, sanity. The silence was still there, but now it felt even heavier. Samantha wasn't there. Probably hiding out with some friend, playing the victim, crying crocodile tears. Kyle had blocked me. Coward. I went into the bedroom, our bedroom, and everything looked exactly the same. The sheets were still twisted. Her perfume still clung to the air. I stripped the bed, ripped the sheets off like they were infected, bagged them, tossed the pillows, the robe she left behind. I wanted nothing of her left here. As I walked down the hallway, I noticed Emma's door was cracked open. I stepped in. Her tiny pink socks were on the floor. Her favorite bear was tucked into her pillow. That's when the tears hit. Not loud, just silent, hot ones that I didn't even try to stop. This was the real casualty. Not the marriage, not my pride, but this room. This little girl's world, about to be cracked in half because her mother couldn't keep her damn legs closed. I pulled myself together, packed a suitcase, grabbed the folder with all the proof I'd gathered, screenshots of texts between Samantha and Kyle, hotel bookings, emails. It wasn't just the one time. It wasn't even just for a few weeks. This had been going on for months. They had inside jokes, nicknames, even plans. They were waiting for the right time to tell me. Turns out, the right time was never. They just didn't think I'd ever find out. As I zipped the bag, a knock came at the door. I opened it. Jenna. She looked even worse than yesterday. Pale. Shaky. Her eyes were bloodshot. She held up her phone. I just got this from Kyle. She handed it to me. It was a video of him crying. I didn't mean to hurt you, he said on the screen. I didn't plan this. It just happened. I love you. I don't know what to do. I handed it back. You gonna respond? She shook her head. I blocked him right after. Good, I said. We sat on the porch for a while. Just sat. She lit a cigarette with trembling fingers. I didn't know she smoked. Maybe she didn't before. Maybe today she needed to. I don't want him back, she said. Me neither. You think they'll stay together? I hope they do, I said. So they can destroy each other. She smiled. A real smile, the first since all of this started. Then she exhaled smoke and said, You know what's funny? What? I knew Samantha was selfish. I just never thought she was this low. She's AF ****ing sewer rat in stilettos. That made her laugh. The sound of her laughing made me feel something I hadn't felt in 48 hours, alive. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. Samantha had no idea what I had planned. She thought the video was the end. It was only the beginning. I called my lawyer that same afternoon. I didn't wait, didn't think twice. Told him everything. The affair. The video. The betrayal. He didn't even sound surprised. People are garbage, Ryan, he said, typing loud enough for me to hear through the speaker. But lucky for you, we deal with garbage for a living. I wanted full custody of Emma. No shared weekends. No pretending Samantha was a fit mother. Not after what I saw. Not after how easy it was for her to throw it all away. My lawyer told me we'd need proof of instability. I told him I had a drive full of it. Text messages where she joked about how easy it was to lie to me. Screenshots of her and Kyle planning overnight meetups when Emma was at school. The kicker? One message that read, He's too busy playing daddy. He doesn't notice anything. I noticed. Too late, maybe, but I noticed. Samantha texted me again that night. No apology. Just, when can I see Emma? I stared at it for a full minute, then turned the phone off. She didn't get to act like a mother on her own terms. The next day, Jenna and I took Emma to the zoo. Just the three of us. Emma didn't ask where her mom was. That almost hurt more than if she had. She just held Jenna's hand like it was normal. Jenna brought snacks. Laughed at the monkeys. Let Emma ride on her shoulders even though she was still wearing heels. It was surreal. Like we were borrowing someone else's life for the day. A better life. A peaceful one. Then Samantha showed up. Right at the exit. Waiting like a damn ambush. She walked straight past the crowd, ignoring everyone, and said in her fake sweet mom voice, Hi, baby. Mommy missed you. Emma hesitated. Looked at me. Then stepped behind Jenna. Samantha's face twitched. Just for a second. Like her pride had been scratched. She bent down, arms out. Emma, come on. It's Mommy. Emma didn't move. Jenna stood still. Like a wall between them. I stepped forward. What the hell are you doing here? I asked. I have a right to see my daughter, Samantha snapped. You can't just take her and run off with the woman you stabbed in the back? I cut in. Yeah, I can. We need to talk, she said, her tone turning sharp. Privately, I told Jenna to take Emma to the car. Samantha waited until they were out of earshot before her real face came out. That ice-cold expression I knew too well. You're making a spectacle, she hissed. Everyone thinks I'm the monster now. Because you are, I said. She stepped closer, voice low and venomous. You think people won't start asking questions about you? About how boring you've become? How you buried yourself in work and forgot what it meant to be a man? That why you ******ed my brother? Because you wanted excitement. Her eyes narrowed. Don't talk to me like you're perfect. You're not. You're just better at hiding your mess. No, Samantha, I said. I'm just not the kind of mess that spreads her legs for her brother-in-law. That got her. She slapped me. Hard. Across the face. Right there in front of God and strangers. I didn't flinch. Instead, I smiled. Slowly. Assault. In public. Good move for a custody battle. She realized her mistake. Took a step back. You think you'll win? Judges don't take kids away from their mothers. They do, I said, pulling out my phone, when the mother's got a video history of banging her brother-in-law with her own kid's backpack on the couch downstairs. Her jaw tightened. You're disgusting. No, I said, you are. And then I left her there. Standing in the middle of the zoo parking lot, alone, furious, and for the first time powerless. That night, Kyle showed up at my house. Drunk. He banged on the door for 10 minutes before I opened it. His eyes were bloodshot, and he smelled like cheap whiskey and desperation. You ruined my *****ing life, man, he slurred. No, Kyle. You did that. He tried to shove me. I pushed back harder. He stumbled, fell into the rose bushes. Pathetic. You sent that video to Jenna, he growled, pulling thorns out of his arm. She kicked me out. She told my parents. I've got nothing. You had a brother once, I said. And you set him on fire. He looked up at me, tears in his eyes. You don't know what it's like, man. She made me feel like I mattered. Like I was better than you. I laughed. Not a bitter one this time. A real, honest laugh. You're not better. You're just louder. Dumber. And now? You're alone. Welcome to it. I shut the door in his face. And this time, it felt like closure. A week passed. No more texts from Samantha. No visits. No apologies. Just silence. The kind of silence that isn't peaceful, more like the eerie calm after a bomb's gone off, when all the noise has already done its damage and everything left is just ash and fallout. Emma asked once where her mom was. I told her, as gently as I could, that Mommy was taking some time to think about things. She nodded. Didn't press. But that nod carried something heavy, like she understood more than I wanted her to. Jenna stayed around. At first, it was just to help with Emma. But the more time she spent at the house, the more it felt like a strange sort of healing. We were two people with fresh wounds, trying to figure out how to stitch each other up without reopening the scars. She cooked. I cleaned. We made a good team, quiet, calm, without the explosion Samantha brought into every room like a storm in heels. Then Samantha broke the silence. She showed up unannounced again. Not screaming. Not crying. This time she was dressed like she was going to church, makeup perfect, smile rehearsed. The sociopath mask back in place. I've been thinking, she said, stepping inside like she still lived there. I stood in front of her, arms crossed. I didn't invite you in. She looked around the house like it was a crime scene she wanted to sanitize. This is Emma's home. I have a right. You lost that right, I said. But go on. Let's hear it. She took a breath, eyes fluttering like she was on stage. We both made mistakes. Stop. She blinked. You made mistakes, I said, slow and clear. I got betrayed. Fine. She shifted tone. I want shared custody. I'm not walking away from my daughter just because you're bitter. I stepped closer. You don't get to gaslight me into pretending this is some messy misunderstanding. You brought my brother into our bed. You lied to my face. You destroyed this family. I still love her, she said. And you can't keep her from me. I pulled a folder from the counter and tossed it on the table. That's for the custody hearing. Your lawyer will get a copy. So will the judge. Includes everything. The video. The texts. Your emails. Enjoy. She didn't touch it. She just stared at me. This isn't over. You're right, I said. It's just getting started. She left. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was the one being left behind. Later that night, I found Jenna in the kitchen, scrolling through her phone. She had this weird look on her face, like she'd just seen something that didn't sit right. Everything okay? I asked. She hesitated, then showed me the screen. It was a new post on Samantha's Instagram. A photo of her and Kyle, smiling, happy. The caption said, "Sometimes life gives you second chances where you least expect them. Red heart #fresh start." I stared at it. My mouth went dry. Second chances? I muttered. She posted that while fighting me for custody? While trying to convince a judge that she was a loving, committed mother? Jenna scrolled to the comments. Most were people saying how brave she was, how love wins, how judgment is ugly. I nearly threw the phone across the room. Let them have each other, Jenna said. Their AF ****ing match made in hell. I didn't sleep that night. I spent it in my office, going over the legal paperwork again, refining every detail, prepping every piece of evidence. I wasn't just fighting to win. I was fighting to make sure Samantha never had the power to wreck anyone else's life again. Not mine, not Emma's, and definitely not Jenna's. 2 days later, Samantha called me. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Her voice was trembling. Ryan, Cole got arrested. There was a bar fight. Someone ended up in the hospital. I need help. I can't do this alone. Please. I replayed the message 3 times. Not because I was worried, but because I wanted to savor it. She'd traded a husband and a daughter for a disaster and a leather jacket. And now? She was drowning in her own choices. I didn't call back. Instead, I took Emma to the park. She laughed as she ran through the sprinklers. Jenna brought ice cream. The sun was out. Life was normal. And I realized, maybe the best revenge wasn't destroying Samantha. Maybe it was just finally living without her. A week later, the court date came. I sat in that sterile, beige courtroom with my lawyer on one side, Samantha on the other. She looked like she was auditioning for sympathy, a hair pinned, no makeup, plain navy dress. A halo of fake innocence. Her lawyer whispered in her ear like she was some poor wounded mother trying to save her family. She glanced at me once. Just once. I met her eyes without blinking. We both knew what this was. I wasn't here to negotiate. The judge asked the usual questions. We gave our statements. Samantha tried to paint herself as the victim of emotional neglect, as someone who just wanted her daughter back. She even cried at one point, fake, tight sobs with no tears. Her voice shook in all the right places. Then my lawyer handed over the file. The video. The screenshots. The timelines. Her statements about wanting to start over with Kyle. Proof that she left Emma with babysitters just to sneak around. And the cherry on top, her Instagram post. The judge didn't say much, but I saw his jaw tighten when he read the captions. I saw him pause longer than necessary on the video transcript. We left with temporary full custody granted to me and visitation supervised only until a final decision could be made. Samantha stormed out without a word. I didn't feel victorious. I felt drained, like I just walked out of a war zone, not a courtroom. Outside, Jenna was waiting in the car with Emma. When Emma saw me, she smiled, ran into my arms like she hadn't seen me in years. That moment was the first time I realized I hadn't lost everything. I just lost her. And that wasn't a loss at all. That night, I sat on the porch with a glass of whiskey. Jenna joined me, wrapped in a blanket. The air was cold but clean, like something had finally cleared. "You good?" she asked softly. I thought for a moment. Not yet. But I'm getting there. She nodded. "Kyle's still in jail, by the way." I raised an eyebrow. She shrugged. "Got denied bail. Something about prior fights. He's been more of a mess than I thought." I leaned back and laughed. "So she chose that over this?" Jenna gave me a look. That's the thing with people like her. They don't choose what's good. They choose what feeds their ego. She was right. Samantha never wanted peace. She wanted control. And when she couldn't control me anymore, when I stopped bending, stopped apologizing for existing, she latched on to the next weak thing in reach. Kyle. Poor, stupid Kyle. He hadn't texted since the arrest. I didn't care if he ever did. Later that week, I dropped Emma off at her school. She kissed me on the cheek and ran to the playground. One of the teachers pulled me aside. "She's doing well," she said kindly. "She seems happier lately." That hit me hard. For so long I'd been drowning in my own pain that I hadn't even realized I was pulling her out of the storm too. That evening, Samantha showed up again. She looked tired. Makeup smudged. Hair undone. Not the polished mask I was used to. She stood at the doorway like someone about to beg. "I lost my job," she said. "Not my problem. I thought maybe you could help me. With rent." I stared at her. Long and hard. You humiliated me, lied to me, used me. And now that your fantasy crashed, you're here asking for help. She looked down. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me so Emma wouldn't hear. You want help? Start by apologizing to your daughter. You haven't even tried. You've been too busy playing house with a criminal. Her lip trembled. I didn't think it would end like this. No one ever does. She didn't say anything for a while. Then she whispered, "Do you hate me?" I thought about that. Thought about everything. No, I said finally. I pity you. She left. No screaming. No insults. No threats. Just silence. And it was the most honest sound she'd ever made. The days started blending together. Not in a foggy, numb kind of way, but in the peaceful rhythm of a life no longer ruled by chaos. I'd wake up, make Emma breakfast, pack her lunch, drop her off at school. After work, I'd pick her up, and sometimes Jenna would come over for dinner. Sometimes she wouldn't. We didn't force it. No pressure. Just people with bruised hearts sharing a little bit of calm. Samantha stopped reaching out. No more texts. No more surprise appearances. Either she finally understood that I wasn't going to save her, or she found someone else to latch on to. Honestly, I didn't care which. The less I knew about her spiral, the better. One night, after I tucked Emma into bed, Jenna and I sat on the back porch again, just like we used to in those first quiet nights. The air was crisp, the stars out, and for once, there was nothing to say. She turned to me. Do you ever think about forgiving them? I didn't answer right away. Then I said, I think forgiveness is a myth. At least the kind people talk about. I don't need to forgive them. I just need to forget they exist. Jenna nodded slowly. That's fair. She didn't push me. That's what I liked about her. She never did. We sat there for a long time. At one point, she leaned her head on my shoulder. I didn't move. Didn't question it. Just let it be. A week later, I got a message from Kyle's wife, Jenna's cousin. She wanted to talk. We met at a cafe. I didn't expect to like her, but she surprised me. Do you know how long they were doing it? She asked, no small talk. At least 7 months, I said. Maybe longer. She closed her eyes. Figures. I was pregnant when it started. The words hit me like a knife. I hadn't known that. I'm sorry. She opened her eyes again, and there was something sharp in them. I'm not. I'm miscarried. Found out he'd given me chlamydia 2 weeks later. I sat in silence, unsure what to say. Then she leaned back. They don't last, you know? People who build their fantasy lives on top of wreckage, they always collapse. Eventually. I nodded. Yeah. Before she left, she paused. Jenna's good for you. Don't let your past ruin that. I thought about that the whole drive home. That night, Jenna didn't come over. I sat on the floor of the living room with Emma, helping her glue pieces of colored paper onto a cardboard castle she was making for school. She giggled every time I messed something up. I didn't mind. I wanted that sound to fill every crack inside me. And when she finally went to bed, I sat alone for a while. Just thinking about who I was before all this. About the man I thought I'd be by now. The family I thought I'd have. The loyalty I gave so easily. And then, I thought about the moment I walked in on Samantha and Kyle. That single, brutal moment that had torn it all down. And for the first time, I was grateful. Because that moment exposed everything that needed to die. The fake marriage. The blind trust. The illusions. Without it, I'd still be sleeping beside a liar. Still calling a snake my brother. Now, I had Emma. I had peace. And maybe, someday, something more. I got up, poured myself a glass of water, and opened the window. The night was still. Quiet. I finally was too. A few months passed. Court finalized everything. Full custody awarded to me. Samantha was granted supervised visits once a month, but she didn't show up for the first 2. By the 3rd, she texted to say she was not in the right emotional space. I didn't reply. I just forwarded the message to my lawyer and went on with my day. Emma stopped asking about her. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. She felt the shift, the absence. But instead of breaking her, it grounded her. She laughed more, slept better, drew pictures of our home that didn't have her mother in them anymore. That part made me ache a little, but not for Samantha. For what Emma lost. For what she deserved better than. Jenna was still here. Not as a replacement. Not as a rebound. She was just here, showing up when I needed someone, stepping back when I didn't, loving Emma in a quiet, steady way that didn't ask for anything in return. We hadn't labeled anything between us. But it didn't feel like it needed a label. It just felt real. One night, after dinner, Emma was brushing her teeth, and Jenna and I were in the kitchen cleaning up. I turned to her, towel in my hand, and said, "You know, I thought I'd never trust anyone again." She looked at me, serious, patient. "Do you?" I nodded. "You? Yeah. Somehow." She smiled. "Good. Because I trust you too." We stood there for a second, in that quiet space between broken and healed. And for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like a man who had something stolen from him. I felt like a man who got something back. Something better. Something real. Later that night, I tucked Emma in. She reached up, hugged me around the neck, and whispered, "I like her life." I kissed her forehead. "Me too, baby. Me too." As I walked out of her room, I realized this was it. The end of the nightmare. The start of something honest. Not perfect, but ours. And if someone out there is reading this, sitting in the middle of their own storm, let me tell you this. Betrayal feels like death. Like your lungs don't work and your skin doesn't fit. But it's not the end. It's a doorway. Walk through it. Don't look back. Because on the other side, there's peace. There's healing. And maybe, if you're lucky, there's someone waiting who knows how to hold your broken pieces without cutting themselves. That's not just survival. That's victory.